I think one of the best feelings ever is revisiting a video game you played as a kid and see that it aged really well.
I hate Alaska.
You don't have to see these games through rose-tinted glasses like a Pokemon fan. No, you see, unlike Pokemon, these games are actually good. You can sit back, relax, and genuinely have a blast from the past. Listen, I'm not trying to hate on old games. I think it's perfectly normal to have a game become outdated and obsolete. It means we're improving. If anything, it's embarrassing when it's reversed, and older games are still superior in a lot of ways. But a lot of games can really show their age sometimes, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly what games are still worth looking at today. No! If you're a fan of the movie, I believe Barnyard is one of those games that age well. It's very simple, it's very fun, it's very immersive, and it does a legitimately great job of having the player explore the hypothetical of, hey, what if you were a cow in this world? But before we talk about the game, let's introduce the story so no one's confused. Oh, and I spend a lot of time sitting in a chair editing my videos, so much that I have to see a chiropractor every couple of days. Basically, I put a lot of effort into my videos, so if you could subscribe or give me your money. Now, Barnyard is about a group of sentient animals living on a farm, trapped in a never-ending cycle nightmare of feigning unintelligence to their human overlord, the farmer, during the day, and fueled by their existential nihilism, partying all night, getting drunk on cow milk to cope. Yes, even the cows drink each other's milk. Barnyard is pretty fucky, but it's awesome. The story follows Otis and his gang of misfits, Pig the pig, Pip the mouse, Freddy the ferret, and Peck the rooster. Yes, I did say Pig the pig, they actually fucking named him that. But these people, they don't matter at all. Otis is a god among cowmen. He's got all the clout, he's musically talented, the life of the party, owns a flip phone. He's not only in it with the hot chicks.
Grab me that tongue.
But sir, he hasn't cooked it yet.
Grab me that tongue.
But the pregnant cow chicks as well. He also somehow manages to live the lifestyle of your charismatic womanizer
Take off your clothes.
without actually having a penis. Otis is addicted to the life of partying, and as he continues to surround himself with sickle pants and enablers, his adoptive father Ben becomes increasingly disappointed and embarrassed in him, hoping one day Otis will mature enough to become the leader that the farm needs when he's gone.
Sit.
And I'm sitting.
Okay. First off, I don't even want to know who was on the other end of that phone. It was the Gophers, wasn't it?
Well,
Nope. I don't want to know. Was it the Gophers?
here's...
Nope, don't. I don't want to know.
Ben is a very flawed person, but a great guy, providing the farm with excellent advice on how to stay alive in coyote season, the most dangerous part of the year.
Rule number 1, stay in groups. Rule number 2, stay inside the perimeter of the fence at all times. And number 3, be careful out there. Okay, let's hit it. Woo!
Don't get me wrong, having a strong leader is great for a farm filled with milkaholics, and they'd probably be coyote dinner without him. Ultimately, he's loyal and humble, and that's exactly his problem. He was so busy single-handedly taking care of everyone that he never protected, arguably, the most important person in the farm, himself. He'll consistently stay outside the perimeter and protect the farm alone, directly disobeying his own orders, which ultimately led to his death, and prematurely leaves his immature son with the responsibility of everyone's lives. The entire plot of the story could have been avoided. There's so many cows in this farm, and yet defending the chicken coop from coyotes alone is a suicide mission. He's a great father, though, and seems to have a great relationship with Otis.
I never thought I was going to amount to much. Now, I certainly didn't think I'd be in charge of anything. But that all changed one day. It was the day you showed up.
Being the leader, he should have stationed several cows with him, and he doesn't. So, will Otis mature in time, or will he forever be cemented as the cow man-child party animal for the rest of his life? Well, it actually doesn't fucking matter because we're playing the game, and video game Otis gets sidelined harder than Woods and Mason in Black Ops Cold War. Because that's when you come in, and you're cooler than Otis, and you're better at not having a penis. You can create your character. It's pretty cool. Bonus points if you pick the Angus cow and correct the spelling. Also, Ben's death doesn't happen until like chapter 7 of the game. That's like 7 fucking hours into the game compared to the film where he's alive for only half an hour. So yeah, if you ever see me talking to a ghost, just know that the game takes an hour and a half long movie and stretches it over 9 hours without actually adding anything, except for maybe raccoon season, which is just coyote season, but bitch made. It's really fucking weird. Your job in this game is to become the #1 party animal, and it's not easy. But how do you do it? Well, by building up your boring as fuck farm and dancing like a lunatic, of course. Throughout the game, you meet characters, unlock new areas riding Otis's bike, and play missions that later become minigames when you revisit them. Here, you're able to get a higher score and compete with every other animal on the farm. Higher scores mean more stars. More stars means more money. And more money means more upgrading that boring barn to a party mansion. Now in the daytime, the farmer drives away, probably to go jerk off in the meadow or something. Honestly, can't blame him. Meanwhile, the animals get to work. Come nighttime, the farmer returns and drops into a fucking coma.
He's out.
When the lights go off, it's time to party.
Clear!
It's a simple formula: work your ass off during the day and reap the benefits at night. It's really fun and immersive.
We got a new drink.
You feel happiness and pride when you provide your fellow farm animals with cool shit. And immense fucking pain whenever the game forces you to play gopher golf.
How about a round of golf?
Now don't get me wrong, making money is playing
Challenge
minigames, and minigames are honestly awesome in this game. But whoever was the guy to invent gopher golf deserves the death sentence.
That means 4.
But you know who doesn't deserve to die? Whoever designed the farm. What a beautiful place to start your barnyard adventure. The farm is like your hub, and this little shed is your home. You've got a bed to rest your hot cow bod, an alarm clock to wake you up after a night's rest, and a poster of another man. You see, when I play video games, I like to create my own stories, so I'd like for you to meet my father. Not only has he not abandoned me this time around, but he's also a convicted felon, guilty of murdering and molesting a bunch of turkeys. Yes, in that order. Necrophilia aside, he's coming to kill me for ratting him out to the pigs.
I got a bullet aimed right for your balls.
Moving to a new farm, I'm saved momentarily, but I know my days are numbered. But yeah, you can also collect missions on the farm by talking to people. Like I've fucking said before, I don't know why I repeat this shit. One of my favorite missions is Sharp Squirter, or the SS for short. In one of the first missions in the game, Otis will give you a pair of sunglasses to use as a disguise.
Sesame seed.
You equip the glasses and Otis dares you to squirt 6 animals in the farm with your breast milk. This mission is pretty important as it introduces the player to the squirt mechanic. It's pretty hard to fail a Barnyard mission because the timer of the mission actually takes the whole fucking day. That being said, if after getting this mission you don't immediately shoot Otis, or at the very least load a shot of milk up Ben's asshole, that's incredibly sad. Smartly enough, the developers purposely make you hit 6 animals despite having 5 titty shots, because trying to do so will deplete all your ammo, forcibly teaching you how to reload by either picking up milk bottles or slowly lactating milk over time. Now, you might be asking, how does a cow retrieving milk from a bottle help it lactate immediately? Even better, how does a cow who is biologically male have tits that fire said milk like a sniper rifle? Well, that's simple. It's because the cows in Barnyard are not only unafraid of breaking health code violations, they're also unapologetically transsexual.
I remember when I used to sit out here with your sister.
I don't have a sister.
Oh, yeah. That was you, wasn't it?
And it's actually a happy accident. The creators of Barnyard aren't actually progressive. They just assumed city folk weren't smart enough to know the difference about different types of cows. Basically, when referring to all types of cows, you're actually supposed to say cattle. And it's actually the state of their genitalia and whether or not they've been given birth is when you get more specific.
Be damned, that dick can piss.
Female cattle who've whored around and given birth are capable of producing milk, thus making them cows.
Are they or are they gay?
On the other hand, if they're waiting until marriage and haven't given birth, they remain heifers. Bulls and steers are the males. The difference between a bull and a steer is whether or not they've been castrated. If their manhood is intact, they are a bull. If they are a scrawny little bitch with no balls, they're a steer. If I were a cow, I'd identify as both, as I'm physically built like a steer, but I have the humongous cock of a bull. Now, any knowledgeable critic that spotted this anatomical error criticized the film for it. I, on the other hand, grew up in the greatest place in the world, and the American education system taught me how to solve for why, but not that male cows should probably have wieners. So I really don't give a shit about this. I think it's cool. Mud Jumpers is another cool minigame. You verse Pig the Pig and 2 others in a battle royale. Pig spins the pipe and Anus either has to kick it or evade it by jumping. Everyone has a set number of lives, and although Anus clearly rigged it by having more, whoever loses their lives gets knocked out. Easy game mode, but quite fun, especially when the pipe starts moving like this. Pig the Pig gives you gopher bucks for winning, and from this point on, the player receives rewards for completing almost every mission. Get enough stars for minigames and you'll earn gold rush coins, which you can use on machines that spawns lines of gopher bucks for you to collect in a time limit. If you go on Ben's Hill, he has a pretty sweet one with a ramp for a bike. A ramp that I failed each and every time. But completing missions and playing minigames isn't the only way of making gopher bucks, and seeing how building the farm up works entirely independently from progressing the story, I wanted to make my gopher bucks as quickly as possible. And although Ben hates partying, I wanted him to be alive for the completed farm. You can pick up rocks and unlock recipes for your cookbook. If you collect food and ingredients and head into the kitchen, you're able to cook them for gopher bucks. Pro tip, finding these rocks around the world is pretty good, but Google is infinitely better. You don't actually need these recipes to cook the food. Pull up the wiki and go crazy.
I'm bacon.
You guys get it? Because he's a pig. He's I'll tell you, baking a birthday cake for 50 gopher bucks feels great, but stocking up on food can get pretty tedious. Especially eggs, because Hannah, the mother hen, and I'm not a furry, but I would fuck her, only lets you take a single unborn child once per day, making farming for that 50 gopher bucks not so convenient. But go to the farm at night.
Good evening.
And near the bar, you can make mocktails, drinks that operate and pay the same as food, except they have much simpler recipes. And you can spam this as much as the game lets you. If building a whole party barn from the ground up isn't immersive enough, each individual dish and drink that you make gets showcased either on the shelf or the bar for the rest of the game. Now, does anyone actually eat or drink these? No, they fucking don't. But now you may be asking, where do all the gopher bucks from my apple juice empire go? Well, to upgrade the farm, you go to Gopher's Hill exclusively in the nighttime. Here you can purchase an assortment of human party accessories and decorations for your barn. Is the basement a little dull? Purchase the pool table for you and Doug, so he can land the 8-ball prematurely 2 games in a row.
Hey, you rack 'em up, I knock 'em down. Come up, I knock 'em down. You rack 'em up.
And somehow, the game rewards you with a D score, even though it's an instant win. I don't fucking get this. How about a foosball table where the cows are stalemated for all of eternity? I'm not kidding. Like what's going on here? You've got gambling chickens, whack-a-mole, darts with Rudy, your boss. Thank God one of my videos didn't corrupt, and this is definitely my footage, but we're gonna have to upgrade more. The main floor, upstairs, and the dance floor, where all the action happens. We can make this all happen by living the barnyard life.
I'm over here stroking my dick, I got lotion on my...
Like teasing the mailman for clout. The challenge is to improvise funny moves behind the mailman's back without him actually seeing you. Also, you can impress Otis and his friends. The minigame can be enough of a challenge already, but if you want dog water, then try dodging his stare attack frame 1. Side note, editing this part was a nightmare when I realized that dropping down to all fours somehow spawns a second version of Anus. Luckily, Anus Prime would consume the imposter, returning to his original form. But the fact that this image actually exists, and that my whole time playing I was completely oblivious to this phenomenon, shook me to my core. After this mission, we farm a bit of gopher bucks and head into the meadow, where we meet the Jersey cows, Eddie, Ig, and Bud. They're supposed to be the troublemakers of the farm, and Ben tells them early on to steer clear of Otis as they might be a bad influence on him. In reality, we actually like them, because honestly, they aren't that bad. Especially in the game, because they have all the racing missions, which is pretty fucking fun. For some reason, they shoehorn Otis into the introduction of these missions. Like, maybe THQ feels bad for firing him as the main protagonist. Also, he seems kind of worried, like maybe we shouldn't be racing across the entire farm. Which, you know, is true, but... I think Otis is definitely the first person to try this shit. During the day, they'll invite you to the bike race around the map. Here, you can practice your bike tricks, while also kicking Eddie's ass in the race. Ig and Bud are also there. I mean, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but it's not racing. Meanwhile, at night, they invite you to steal Mrs. Beatty's car and hit the road. But more on that later, because after the bike race, nightfall comes, and that's when the delinquents come out. Cow tipping is probably one of my favorite minigames in the entire game. It's also completely ironic because it's given to you by Ben, which, if you didn't know, is not only against assaulting animals with your liquidy goodness, but also against doing business with the gophers. Yet his character is designed specifically to help you do both of them effectively. Remember all that talk about cooking to make gopher bucks? Well, that's actually completely useless, because about a third into the game, Ben teaches you how to steal from them.
Go ahead and have fun.
You see, Ben has some inside information on how the gopher business operates, and most importantly, their banking information. You see, the gophers store their gopher bucks in several locations in the farm, which can be found under treasure bell flowers. Take out your metal detector given by Otis in Chapter 3. Like, holy shit, I'm just like forgetting each and every moment that Otis actually exists. And you're able to commit fraud by locating the gopher's money, stealing it, and feeding it back to them for their own products.
Sir, we are showing a balance of $0.0.
Ben is truly the most evil cow of them all. Don't believe me? Children have been going to the meadows at night and tipping cows as they sleep. And what does Ben tell us to do? Follow these kids and preach God's word, right? Wrong. He arms us with a tomato machine gun and orders us to fire at the children until they hit the ground. Is this morally fucked up? Yes. Is Anus the cow morally bankrupt? Maybe. Raccoon season hits, and it's time we start defending what's ours. They come swiftly and in numbers, and you're tasked to defend the various sites that they attack. At first, minigames like chasing chicks and farmed events are kind of fun, but one of Barnyard's flaws are the consistent and frequent use of reused assets. I honestly can't distinguish the first defense mission from the last. It's the same level, constantly thrown at the player, with a monochrome of difference in each and every one of them. But still, just as painfully long as the one previous. A lot of the party games are also guilty of doing this, but even then, they're short and fun, and you don't feel so exasperated when you have to play them. They're usually done before they can even get annoying. But still, this shit has nothing on fucking Gopher Golf. I can't wait to talk about this god-awful devil spawn of a mission. Simply put, I don't give a fuck about raccoon season. Why would I care about stolen fruit and vegetables and the murder and consumption of our young when we have a new booth upstairs? Look at these fucking sheep, bro. They're so happy. How about this? A horse waiter. That's fucking a horse waiter. That's cool as fuck. Just look at him. It's so cool. And again, I wouldn't call myself a furry, but no, I'm just kidding. Jukebox. And the song like barely changes, but I mean, this guy's happy. What's that, Ben? It's coyote season? A complete reskin of the raccoon season, but with coyotes now? What's that, Ben? It's 10 times worse than the raccoon season and people could literally die? Well, before they die, I hope they take a look at our new and improved stage. Look at the piano. Look at the speakers. The barn is straight up unrecognizable, packed with tables. The sunflower guy with the banjo that just goes dun 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 dun. Banners of all the main characters. The flower for the ladies, where Daisy says nice flower. I don't care about our dog water crops. I care about a party mat where the game allows me to dance freely with the boys. What's that, Root? You're crowning me as the #1 party animal for building this piece of shit unrecognizable farm into a party mansion? What's that, Root? Ben died because everyone was so focused on partying that no one helped him with the coyotes?
Oh no. No.
After his death, Ben gets buried under the same tree he would camp next to so he could overlook the farm. A detail they kept in the game, as you can see him playing blues in the middle of the night. Despite being a cow, Ben seems to get a proper burial from the farmer. The tombstone reads, Ben, a good cow. To me, it seems like the farmer felt like he actually lost a friend, and it makes Ben's death seem much more touching. I think in Barnyard there's this underlying message that life doesn't really matter for these cows, but here you can actually make the argument that they do matter. At least to the farmer. You know, maybe one day they can tell the farmer that they're actually people, and they matter, and they have thoughts and opinions, and they don't have to kick him 3 times into a coma when he finds out.
Moo?
Yeah, this is an actual scene in the movie. It's funny as fuck.
Will you stop doing that?
Well, unless you get him a blindfold, I'm gonna kick it.
There's no doubt that Otis blames himself for his father's death. How would you feel if you were partying a few hundred feet away from your dying father? Also, the fact that he's a natural party animal and now he has to take care of the entire farm, it's pretty fucked up. You know, when Ben was alive, Otis would ignore his lessons and kind of brush them aside. They go in one ear and out the other. It wasn't ill-intentioned, but he was just young and naive and trying to have fun with his friends.
Otis, a strong man stands up for himself. A stronger man stands up for others.
Oh, shoot. You know, I forgot my pen.
And in less than 24 hours, the tables have turned, and he has to try to remember all that his father taught him because no one else is fit to lead the farm. Otis struggles to believe in himself. He doesn't really see himself as a leader, even though, honestly, despite him partying all the time, he kinda is one. These animals look up to him. Frustrated, Otis leaves the farm, dooming everyone to the mercy of the coyotes. But this isn't his worst crime, because before he does this, he dooms you with 7 million rounds of fucking Gopher Golf.
About a round of golf.
Now, the Gopher Golf minigame is a direct reference to the film where Otis misses his stroke in golf and the gopher helps him out by doing this. The minigame, however, is proof that God no longer loves us. Gopher Golf has no right being this cancerous. You're just playing golf as a gopher. It's a funny premise. Decent controls, beautiful scenery, and magnificently constructed obstacle courses. Unfortunately, Barnyard is notorious, as I said, for reusing assets, and not only does spawn of Hitler, Otis, find a way to throw mandatory missions at our poor anus that progressively get longer each time, even having to replay the maps you've already beaten just to get to the new ones. But Otis will also change literally one rule at a time, and for some reason, Otis and anus actually believe warrants another 40 fucking minutes of golf. There's also the charity event that happens in the game for Old Dog, who's currently at 1% battery life.
Boy, those dog ears are rough.
It's his 13th birthday and you're tasked with replaying minigames to raise gopher bucks. One of the minigames is literally just 40 fucking minutes of golf with coins. I want to kill myself. Come to think of it, why do these cows even care about playing golf? They start the first stroke, but after that, it's just the gophers for like 10 strokes. I think they're the real victim. After beating all the levels of golf, I knew exactly what it felt like to fight for my independence. I've never felt more American. I mean, you know, besides like the racist shit. It's like there's a lot of racism in our history. Finally, the days of wasting my short life on this repetitive garbage were over. After what felt like years of running the original 18 holes 1,000 times, does Otis leave you alone forever? And I can finally go back to my barn and relax for... No. Oh, thank God it's just a gopher.
About a round to go.
So anyways, I went to Matt's house to destroy Barnyard once and for all, but here's the catch. My Barnyard disc isn't actually a disc at all, it's completely digital. An assortment of game files and Rule 34 pictures of Otis. Now, conflicted, I attempted to buy a copy online and lie to you guys, saying I've been playing on a PlayStation 2 this entire time. It would have been the perfect crime if the game hadn't been listed on Amazon for $50 fucking dollars.
And $4.98 for ship.
Not sure what to do, I looked within myself and learned that my issues weren't with Barnyard itself. No, the game is actually pretty awesome. I really just had a problem with golf. So I zipped over to a retro video game store and bought Hot Shots Golf for $4. Now, seeing that this game now operated as a physical manifestation of all things wrong with Barnyard, Matt and I did pretty much the only logical thing. Yep.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand.
Super Mario!
What the fuck? Wait, it's solid.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Let's go ahead and put this back into place, shall we? Look, here we have the manual for the game. Still intact. Selling in excellent condition. Oh my god.
Last time we talked about the story, Otis left us, making us the leader of the Barnyard, effective immediately. I elect Hannah, the sexy chicken, to be my new wife. I'm sorry, Root, but she's mine now. Unfortunately, she and her spawn get kidnapped the very next day by Dag, just before I could get the schlop, causing Otis to come back almost immediately. Fuck. By the way, I'm not speeding up the story. In the movie, leaving the farm causes Otis to find himself and finally take responsibility for protecting the farm, effectively becoming the new Ben. But in the game, he leaves and comes back in the span of like 20 fucking minutes. And there's like no context, like what happened, where did he go, nothing. For the last mission of the game, we basically play cow tipping, except it's versus coyotes, and they're holding the chicks captive. Now, this is actually really cool, because the chicks can legitimately die here, which is like super fucked. Shooting the coyotes is no problem, especially when you pick up upgrades and even recruit Wild Mike to help us while we're outnumbered. This also happens in the film, which, you know, seeing that was really cool. Like this game is fucking awesome when it comes to this shit. Now, the real issue is dag, which can be a real challenge. Ducking in and out of cover, throwing trash at you.
Bruh, peek this one.
Oh wait, I was actually just fucking dog shit, and then I realized you can shoot the projectiles and then fucking dome him like 29 times. Yeah, anyway, after you defeat him, the game ends, like super abruptly, which is kind of jarring. Like, if I created something, I would never just end it without... To wrap up the story, because the game doesn't do it that well, the story basically comes full circle. Ben found Otis somewhere randomly and adopted him as a son. He tells Otis that this was the best day of his life. Adopting his son and taking care of the farm like really completed him as a person. And he swears that when he looked up in the stars at night, they were dancing for him, which is like really cute. Daisy gives birth to her son at the end of the film. Otis and Daisy, being a couple now, decide to name him after Ben, so they name him Ben Jr. And before the movie ends, you could see the stars dancing once again for Otis, solidifying his place in the barn as Daisy's husband and Ben Jr.'s adoptive father.
And I would have swore I saw the stars dance.
Which is like, it's like really cool. It's like everything's connecting, and you know, it's a great ending. It's like fucking adorable. And then the show came out, and the movie doesn't really matter because Daisy and Ben Jr. actually leave the farm and are never mentioned again. The wiki has Otis down as Daisy's ex-husband. You know, as someone whose parents are actually divorced, and you know, seeing this cute ending and then they fucking leave each other, that kind of sucks.